Hey, everybody, welcome in. We are here we are here for a live commitment. We are not streaming this one, but we are reacting to this one. I figured, hey, I film my show on Sundays. I'm here, I'm in the studio. So let's go live for Derrek Cooper's big decision. The number 2 rated running back in America from South Florida is about 5 or so minutes away from making his decision. It's a big day. We've been waiting for this Derrek Cooper announcement for a while. There's 5 contenders. We got Georgia, Florida State, Ohio State, Miami, and Texas. I think really, though, we're talking about 2, maybe 3 teams that are in a position today to land him. I'm going to bring in Rivals national analyst Adam Gorney to break this down. Adam, Derrek Cooper set to decide. I'm watching it here, so you guys, we're gonna announce the commitment as it happens. But how did we get here, Adam?
Yeah, I mean, he had committed to Georgia for like a cup of coffee early in his recruitment. It was a very quick commitment. But Georgia kind of in the last couple of weeks had felt confident about this one again. Texas is obviously right there. And I think Miami, if he has a top 5, he wants some hats on the table. But I think this is more of a top 3 decision heading into this one.
Yeah, and, Georgia, they had the bounce back commitment from Jared Curtis, the number 1 quarterback in America, committed to them a little bit longer than Derrek Cooper did. And, 5-10 years ago, we would never see a scenario where a recruit decommits from a school and then recommits. But in the era of NIL, we can throw out everything that we know about recruiting. We've seen it happen a lot in recent days. So Georgia has himself in a position, like you said, Texas has themselves in a position. How did Miami kind of fade from view of this one?
Yeah, that's what's surprising here. And, Derrek Cooper lives down there. He's miles from the campus. And so at any point in his recruitment, he could have committed there. We all know Miami's not afraid to throw money around in NIL. And as this has gone into decision day, that was definitely a factor in his decision here. Some people were quoted as saying a big offer came in from Texas. I think that'll be worthwhile watching. But it is surprising that Miami didn't really, put all the chips in the middle of the table. Derrek Cooper is a very, very talented player, and is very versatile. So in that Miami offense, he would have fit really well down the road. But that hasn't happened yet, and we'll see in a few minutes here if he picks the Hurricanes or not, which right now I think people that have followed this closely would consider a surprise.
Yeah, and I think the odds-on favorite here is I'm gonna be watching. I'm gonna let you guys know Derrek Cooper not at the table yet, but we're expecting a decision here probably in the next 3 to 5 minutes if everything runs on time. But Texas is just absolutely on a heater right now. It doesn't feel like anybody can stop them. I don't think anybody's going to get in their way for Derrek Cooper. We were talking to Justin Wells of Inside Texas earlier today just about how hot is Texas right now. Is this the hottest they've been in the Steve Sarkisian era?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think if you go down the list of their June and July, it's as good as Texas has seen in a long time, maybe even back to those Mac Brown days when he would have just one, spring visit for everybody to come in. And in like one day he would get 20 commitments. But not only have they, done okay in Texas, they've done really, really well elsewhere. South Florida to get Dia Bell, Georgia to get Tyler Atkinson, California to get Richie Wesley, back in Florida to flip a Georgia commit in James Johnson. They've done well everywhere. Obviously that the money spigot is open for this, and that has certainly helped. But going to 2, college football playoff back-to-back, not being able to get to the national championship game yet, but really winning and being on that trajectory. Everybody's talking Arch Manning. Everybody's talking this season potentially being the number 1 team in the country. And now recruiting is really following suit through a very busy June and now a great July.
Yeah, kind of crazy. And, prior to this run that Texas is on, historic run, by the way, that Texas is on right now, they were in a little mini slump. And in the meantime, in May and June, it was Georgia that was killing it. Now, Georgia, not to say the number 2 ranked team in America is in any sort of a slump, but Georgia's kind of reeling right now due to the way that Texas is recruiting. Is this a little bit of a surprise from you?
Yeah, we've talked about this before, and Georgia reeling with the second best class in the country. No, but they're going to have to take their lumps. If Kirby Smart, and he said it again at SEC Media Days, emphatically over the last few days, that he is just not going to pay up for players. He would rather hold back that money, come to Athens, prove that you're worth it. They'll get paid, but it's just not going to be to commit. So he would rather do it that way. He's going to miss out on some of these big time, big ticket names like Atkinson and James Johnson flipping. We'll see about Derrek Cooper in a few minutes, but there's definitely a sense, and I think sort of a growing frustration that, God, we're just not landing some of the guys that we just used to would walk into our building and we would be able to get to commit. So I love that there is now a Texas-Georgia sort of rivalry in recruiting. It's great for the sport, great for our business, great for what we do. It's awesome. Sark has this really, really rolling well. Surprisingly not so great in the state of Texas, but around the country, he is recruiting phenomenally well, as well as anybody else, if not number one.
Yeah. And as we speak, Derrek Cooper at the table. He's going to make his decision. I'm going to let you guys know where he's going. We're only about a minute away from the number 2 rated running back in America from Chaminade Madonna High School down there in South Florida, making his decision. Look at these stats. I mean, very productive player. Where's he going to end up? Is he going to stay home attending Miami, maybe Florida State? We know out-of-state teams covet him heavily. You got Ohio State in there, Texas and Georgia, and he is making his decision as we speak. It looks like he has committed to Texas. Adam, this is what we expected. It goes down. Derrek Cooper is a Longhorn. What are the Longhorns getting in the number 2 running back in America? What do you like about him?
Yeah, someone who's timely first. That's the best part. He sat down at the table. He announced his commitment. He wasn't 15 minutes late. There was no drama. I do remember someone from Chaminade Madonna named Jeremiah Smith who's committed to Ohio State and then didn't sign for like 5 hours, and it kept me up very late on signing day. So, but as a player, they're getting someone who's very versatile and very jacked up. The guy is super fast, surprisingly fast. I remember at the Rivals 5-star, he would get to the edge. It looked like a linebacker was closing on him. He turned on another speed and got to the edge. So in Sark's offense, he's going to be mainly a running back, but he's going to be a guy who can run between the tackles, get outside, make people miss. And then I would not be surprised if he's used in the passing game coming out of the backfield as well, because he's just very versatile, very comfortable doing everything in the offense. And now for what was a stacked running back room, just look at those names up and down the list that they have in Austin. Cooper is another special player that they're adding to the group.
Yeah, pretty special backfield room there in Texas. Is Derrek Cooper one of these guys that could come in and make an instant impact? I mean, running back is a position where you can do that. I know Texas has a loaded room, but could we see Cooper early in Austin?
Yeah, I do think so. And you're going to have CJ Baxter probably back, Trey Wisner going into his senior year. Christian Clark is up and coming. A lot of people are talking about him. But none of those guys really do what Cooper does. So if they're looking, for someone that does something a little bit different than just run between the tackles, I would kind of compare him the most to Trey Wisner. So I think that will be kind of how he's used. Now in the SEC, does he come in day one and start? No, I think the Nate Frazier kind of warm him up, get him some reps, get him involved in the speed of the game, the setting, all the complicated protections and all of those things that you need to learn in the SEC. But he's not someone who's going to go to Austin and stand on the sideline for years. He's just too talented not to be on the field.
Yeah, Texas is just cleaning up in the state of Florida. Cedric Baxter was the number 1 running back in the state 2 years ago. Last year, it was Jared Gibson, who they stole from the Florida Gators. He's from Gainesville. This year, it is Derrek Cooper. Now, the Gators weren't involved in this one, but Miami and Florida State were heavily involved. It's kind of a weird time for Georgia recruiting. Like we said, they're the number 2 rated team in the country. They've beaten Texas on the field the 2 times they've played them as SEC rivals, but it just looks like Texas is kind of eating their lunch. If you're Kirby Smart, do you adjust your strategy to this new era, or do you let the games play out in the season and see how things fall?
Yeah, that will be interesting because Texas is stockpiling talent, just like Georgia used to stockpile talent, just like Alabama used to stockpile. It feels like that sense of the best players in the country, the most elite players, are now really not only considering Texas even more strongly, but going there. But
Yeah.
Georgia is not really struggling all that much. There have been some marquee names that have gone elsewhere. I think we just kind of reviewed them, but having Jared Curtis, Caden Prothro, Justice Fitzpatrick, Jordan Smith, Caden Harris, PJ Dean, and it's only July. So let's give 4 months here heading into signing day. We'll see where things stand. Texas is obviously going to have a great season. Georgia is expected to be right there as well. It's these recruiting battles that maybe for a while Kirby Smart didn't have to deal with, especially as the NIL era has picked up even more and business agents, and he's taken his stance on everything. But Georgia is doing just fine.
Yeah, I kind of look at it the same way. I think they're both two heavyweight prize fighters standing in the middle of the ring, throwing haymakers at each other. And instead of saying, hey, who's winning, let's just watch a great battle. It's not over. They're both going to get great players. So Texas, Georgia, let's see what they do on the field, huh? That's where it's going to get settled. All this hoarding of recruits won't matter if you're not winning on the field. So let's see what Texas can do this season. All right, Adam, thanks for joining us for this live commitment special for Derrek Cooper to the Longhorns. We appreciate you.
Always.
All right, there it is. Adam Gorney. He's been covering Derrek Cooper for about 2.5, 3 years, and today it comes to an end. Yes, he made a brief commitment to the Georgia Bulldogs some months ago, but today's the day. Derrek Cooper is a Longhorn, number 2 rated running back off the board. Now, all we got to do is wait for the number 1 running back in America, Savion Hyder. He is now on the clock. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you are subscribed. We are getting scarily close to 100K on this channel. Jump on board, hit subscribe. We got more live commitments coming all week long.